Can I just add?
Yes.
People do, the skeptics say, well, look, this is all part of natural variability and everything like that. And they've been a bit quiet on this one, I have to know. But the best research I've seen into how much of this is man-made as opposed to natural variability actually came out last month in Geophysical Papers, a big peer-reviewed study of all the ice retreat observations in the last 50 years, and then taking a lot more back beyond that. And done by Strobe and various others, and they found that 60% was man-made. And that's really the first time I've seen it put down in paper. So it's 60% guaranteed man-made, if you like, 40% within the bounds of possibility. And that's pretty convincing. I have to say that, you know, there's a huge amount of extra work which has to be done on this. They don't know. There aren't that many scientists doing it, they do need more work. But it's only going in one direction. The trends are only going in one direction. And so that's it, yeah.
What I was told to say, I forgot to say, is by Max and others, do please, it costs a little bit of money for the hall and stuff, so this is a free meeting, so if you're able to contribute to the campaign, that would be much appreciated. Unfortunately, some people already escaped before I meant to say that, but yeah, so do we have some questions for John? I don't think I've heard from the gentleman in the red yeah.
I was just wondering, have you heard of anybody who's looking into what the jet stream might do with no summer sea ice?
No, I don't think that work's been done. I mean, they really are, stretched, and they just haven't done that. I think when Wadham said that it was going to be 3-4 years, 2015, 2016, all the ice scientists back, he said that in 2006, 2007, the ice scientists didn't take him seriously at all. I mean, he was just well, he's a guy at the,
Yeah, I was the first to tell it also. Back in 2005, I raised the issue that Arctic Ocean would be ice-free somewhere after the decade turning. And the first time this issue came in United Nations in 1992, that some nations were raising alarm at United Nations General Assembly that they think that the Western nations are wrong because their ancient recollections that when the ice ages were going, the changes were very fast, the sea ice was retreating fast, the glaciers were collapsing in an avalanche style. And there are countries like the state of Kiribati that has decided to remove their capital to about 10 meters of sea level, and they implemented the plan in 2011, and they are planning to have the capital moved by 2025, and they are vacating all the coastal towns. So there are a great deal of countries responding differently in this situation. But what I would say that in the near future we might see strong responses also from the land ice after the sea ice is gone and the methane is leaking and all that coming in.
No, I mean the land ice is a whole different other matter. I mean the feeling amongst the scientists at the moment, and I'm talking broadly, is that the annual sea ice is what's going to go. The stuff, the multi-year ice, the stuff which has been there for a long time, the stuff on land is not going in the same way. We're not talking about an ice-free Arctic. We're talking about a couple of months a year, within a few years, which is going to be ice-free. And even then, there is debate about how much of the multi-year ice goes. The annual sea ice, forget it, it's gone. And the effects, they don't know. So the effects on the jet stream are, no one's done that work, to my knowledge.
I think it's worth saying that nobody predicted this effect about the jet stream that I've just described. That was in nobody's prediction. So we are very much in uncharted territory. Personally, my feeling is you could throw most of the models out of the window because nobody really knows what's going to happen. It's because it only takes. We always knew it only took one tipping point to render all the models irrelevant. And however you define it, this is by one definition a a tipping point that we're going through. So we've just got a chain of events that we've been set off. We don't know what that chain of events is or how to work out. So anybody else? Preferably we haven't heard. Yeah, don't think so.
Hi John, I'd like to get your view on, obviously, we talked up earlier about lots of CIs gives up way for oil companies to move in the Arctic and exploration and not only open mining as well. We also heard, we mentioned Greenpeace, that they're competing against Shell and they have just announced that they're going to shell the plans for this drilling Arctic. Today, the French company Total are now saying that drilling Arctic is irresponsible. And where do you see, as it gets more and more, every year gets more and more accessible, where do you see that fight going? Do you think it's a fight that you won, or where are they there?
It's very interesting because Shell, at the beginning of last week, they announced that they were just opening up this particular well. 4 days later, they had to announce they were closing it because of ice conditions, actually. But within 2 more days, they had taken out a suit against Greenpeace to try and prevent them going within 300 miles or something extraordinary. Greenpeace has set its battle lines. It will be, it took on the Russian guys a couple of weeks ago, and good for it, because the real, I think Shell and BP and Cairn and whatever, to a certain extent, are accountable, and we can all have great effect on their thinking there, and I think we can break it, especially with the tar sands opposition in America and wherever. What we don't have much control over is what's going on in Russia and the Siberia and those areas, where we have no real knowledge about what's even going on. And certainly the Russian plans, if you look at how Putin and the boys are talking about opening up the Arctic, then it's really scary. I've been talking to the shipping companies who want to obviously get through the Northeast Passage, or what do they call it, the Northern Sea Route and the Northwest Passage. And that's where they see commercial advantage coming, because they can save 3,000 miles on a journey from Northern Europe through to China. And it's a very moot point whether actually going that way saves more energy than it uses, if you know what I mean. So it's because they use far less oil to travel to 4,000 miles. So that's a pretty moot point. But clearly the industrialization of the Arctic is going to be one of the great commercial phenomena of the next 20, 30 years. So we can expect all manner of mining companies. Greenland is going to be mined to buggery, excuse me. The Russians are up for it, and so is everybody else. So it's pretty scary.
I'm just going to throw a controversial spanner in there and say, I don't think it matters very much, to be honest, because I think that what's happening at the global scale is happening at such a speed that this is a sort of localised thing going on, really. And if we don't win the battle for reducing emissions at the global level, of which whatever comes out of the Arctic is only a tiny part anyway, then things are happening on such a big scale so fast that I think, with all apologies to Greenpeace, it's kind of irrelevant in a way. That's my spanner that I'll throw in. But a lady, Cheryl, would you like to?
I just want to ask you a question about what you think the role of the media is in informing the public about what's going on in the Arctic.